Hello, it's me, Danyell Carmelita, your favorite tarot reader and astrologer. Today I'm talking about P. Diddy. The videos are already out. There's so many videos about this. However, this one's different because I am linking this to astrology and tarot. I'm going to talk about his natal chart. I'm going to break that down. Who is P. Diddy really? Puffy, Brother Love. I don't know what his name is, but we'll break that down. I'm going to discuss point blank if he's guilty, if he's not guilty. Predictions for what is to come. Is he going to get jail time? How long is the jail time? All of that will be discussed in this video. Also, I have a great tarot spread to discuss with P. Diddy and this whole situation. So if this is what you want, then continue to watch this video. First of all, hello, welcome. Thank you for watching this. Thank you for clicking on this video. I am going to ask you to do a free service, and that is to subscribe. Thank you. Also, can you thumbs up if you like this video, if you like me doing this content, if you want more of this content video that helps me out. That is like my tip. I would say it's actually you're paying me. I think I'm going to first do tarot. That's what we're first going to do. And then we'll go into the nits and gritty of astrology. Okay. So I am shuffling the cards in my hands, and the deck that I've been using for a while now is the Bohemian Secrets Tarot. First, I'm going to pull a card on his current situation, P. Diddy's current situation. So he's juggling two things at the same time. Like he has options, or there's two sides to the coin. This is representing the legal trouble. This is representing the accusations. This is also representing the media. Almost like makes me think like he's a rapper and an FBI agent, or he's giving one image and there's another image. Okay, so because we have the two of coins, I'm thinking that there's a lot that he has to juggle. Maybe he has to prioritize something currently. Maybe he has to prioritize what case he has to focus on, or something he has to focus on. Maybe he's weighing his pros and cons. This is also a card that could be making a decision. This is also financial because you are literally talking about the coins. So there could be some financial considerations. Anytime you have anything legal, of course, there's finances. This also could be someone who needs to be flexible. And maybe currently his legal accusations and the media is probably... I find that this is also what the media is doing too, that the media is looking at, how are you making your money, P. Diddy? Are you this FBI agent, or are you making money through these sex tapes, or are you trying to make money as a rapper? That is what we have for the first card. I'm actually going to write them down because we're going to revisit this. So the next card I'm going to pull is going to be about the challenges and the obstacles. And this card is going to represent main obstacles that he is facing. Such as like the legal hardships or the hurdles, or maybe the public backlash. This is also any legal battles, any obstacles, any restrictions. And the card that we have is the King of Cups in reverse. This definitely makes me think of Scorpio energy. Now, my first gut saying with the King of Cups in reverse is that he is not using his emotional intelligence. He's probably very emotional. Okay, there is lack of compassion that he has, and this could be an obstacle, or people have lack of compassion for him. Maybe he doesn't have anyone to go for advice when it comes to love. This is someone who's actually lacking love. The King of Cups is someone who is a leader, and they are very emotionally intelligent, and emotion and relationships and intuition is very high. This is in reverse, so that means none of that is working for him. So his current obstacle, I would say, is that there's a lack of love within himself and from the public. So let's talk about the legal outcome. And this card is going to represent the possible outcome for this legal case. What is going to be the verdict? Is there going to be justice? Is there going to be a consequence? Let's see what we have. We have the Sun in reverse. I have to see if all my cards were in reverse. But the Sun in reverse is definitely someone who is not going to be free. Okay, this is someone who's not going to see the sun. He will be having some jail time. This card is a very positive, optimistic card. However, in reverse, it is not. This is someone who is not producing any energy. Okay, there is going to be definitely some disappointment happen on P. Diddy's end. He's not going to fulfill any of his victories. It's definitely stopping some success in his life. There's also could be lack of clarity, right? Like lack of transparency, because the sun brings everything to the light, and this not being in the light, this is actually almost like the moon. So there is like lack of clarity, lack of light. Maybe there is confusion, or there isn't transparency that's happening. Maybe there's something that's misunderstood at the same time with this legal case. Something's not being fully disclosed. There could be some secrets, okay? But this card definitely represents a disappointment, an unfulfilled expectation, and I believe that this means that justice may not be served. One, and at the same time he will be serving some time, okay? I don't know who the justice wouldn't be served for, but this is not a happy card. This is actually very negative, okay? So let's talk about the public perception, and the next card is going to be on how the public views him currently, even though I said that earlier and how there was lack of love, but I really feel like it's lack of love for him, and a lack of maturity and a lack of compassion he has for himself and others. Because, and this is someone who's also not tapped into their spirituality with the King of Cups in reverse. But let's see what the public, the reputation that the public has for him now, and how the media is portraying him. Public opinion. We have the Ten of Pentacles. So this means that the media thinks he has a lot of money. This is someone who has a lot of money. Maybe they're getting some money from somewhere, and maybe the public or the people who are suing him think they can get a lot of money from him. This is someone who has a lot of stability, maybe someone who is respected, or maybe still respected, or someone who has wealth, just a lot of money. It's so interesting because I don't think that of him. I actually think of the King of Cups with him, but he did put up a lot of money for the house, to get off bail, so that could be happening. The next card is going to be the personal impact, right? So the emotional and psychological effect that it is having on him. Does he feel stress? Does he feel guilty? Is there personal turmoil? We have the Eight of Pentacles. This is someone who is just really about their coins. They're focused on small details and work, and they're not even focused on what the outside is saying. I do not feel like this person is feeling like they're guilty. This is someone who is committed to the work and the job, and they're very persistent. That's what this card also represents. And they are really focused on the details, on the effort, maybe even their finances, more practical concerns. He could be thinking long term too, but he's not thinking of guilt. He doesn't seem stressed, actually, just more stressed about the work and the money. I guess that's stress. So who is his support system? Who can he depend on? Because he had all these celebrities who were attending all his parties, and can he support on any of them? Does his kids, are his kids supporting him, his family, his friends, or his allies? Or is there betrayal? And for that, we have the Page of Brooms. I think it's a young fire sign who is supporting him. I have to look up and see who is this person. But this is youthful energy. This is someone who is young and are very optimistic. So yeah, he does have some young, it could be actually the son who looks like him. But yeah, there's someone who is young. The youth is supporting him, basically. And this could be his sons. His sons could be supporting him. Whoever it is someone who's very outgoing, someone who likes the stage. So that's why I'm thinking is that Justin. It's the dark-skinned son. He definitely has his back more than anything, and he's supporting him, and he's his support system. And he's probably, because fire signs are also someone who is very inspirational, so he's just starting to inspire his dad, and maybe he feels motivated to inspire his dad, okay? Let's look at the next card. Is going to be about the hidden factors, unseen influences that are affecting the situation, things that we can't even think of, like what is going on behind the curtain. So some secret agendas, some unknown evidence. And we have the King of Machetes. I find that this could be Jay-Z. there could be an unseen authority that we don't know, and someone who is serious about their words, not just the action, but this is someone who is like lawyer kind of energy, or someone who is a lot of writing, a lot of communication, but they are the king, they are the authority. And this is a hidden factor that we cannot see. So maybe there's some hidden truths or some hidden logic, some hidden evidence. Let me pull another card to go with this. Let's see if this is like a celebrity. Ooh, it's someone who's in the dark and Two of Swords. So it could be two people and we cannot see them. And they are both dealing with words. And it makes me think of two rappers, because rappers are very serious about their words. Yeah, this is definitely hidden information that we may not ever be able to see. Okay. But immediately I think of Jay-Z. Okay. But yeah, a major rapper, someone who has power. The King of Swords could definitely be a rapper, because there's someone that's good with words, and there could be two of them and there's two people who we cannot quite see. I know we see Jay-Z, and a lot of people are speaking of Jay-Z. That's supposed to be the hidden, unseen influence. However, there's a secret agenda with that, or maybe a secret agenda with these rappers who are top. Maybe all the top rappers could be a hidden factor in this. When you have two, I think there's two. So that is to clarify. So what do we have for the immediate future? And when I say immediate future, the card that I'm pulling up next is going to say what's coming up in the next few weeks for him. Short-term events or short-term development. And we have the Chariot. Oh, this is kind of positive. This is someone who's moving forward. There's willpower. This is someone who, it doesn't matter what the decisions are, they're going to keep going forward. They're going to overcome some obstacles. He may be overcoming some obstacles and taking some control for sure. This is someone who's very determined. So there's some determination and drive. This could be some determination to put him in jail. This could be moving forward to put him, for him to get arrested. For him to stay in jail. At the same time, this could be him. So let's see. But whatever it is moving forward. It's not stopping. So hopefully this is not going to be a long case. But I'm going to pull a card for long-term outcome, and the long-term outcome of the situation, like, the future implications. And we have the Lovers. This also represents Gemini. Maybe he'll write a book. When you have the Lovers card, it does represent Gemini. And when you have Gemini, there is a lot of talking, a lot of interviews, a lot of messaging, a lot of communication. Someone who is a writer. So that could be happening. Maybe there could be a tell-all book that could be coming out. We already had Kim Porter with the tell-all book, but maybe there's something more with this. This also could be relationships, right? And I'll get into that a lot more. And I find that he has a lot of Libra placements, which means partnerships and relationships. Now, this isn't a Libra card, but this is the Lovers, which also represents relationships. So there could be something with relationships and partnerships that could be meaningful and could be a long-term outcome. This also could represent choices and decisions. Maybe he will have an option for something in the long term. So maybe an option to tell on someone or to report on something. This also could be in alignment with integrity, like having harmony, and maybe he will have some integrity in the long term. This is also unity and partnership. I said partnership, but unity in a broader sense. So like unity with the lovers that he was once beating. Maybe there's forgiveness. Maybe there's some deepening of some values and repenting for his sins. Not saying he's guilty. There, in the long term, this is going to actually involve some love, which could involve some personal growth across the board. So the advice that we have for Mr. P. Diddy, this is guidance on how he should navigate this situation. Maybe the best strategy and justice. Now, this is a card I knew was going to come up, but this card also represents Libra, which we will get into all that. The advice is for him to be fair and to be honest and to give justice where justice is due. That is the advice for Mr. P. Diddy, for him to get justice, not him, but to give justice to others. Okay, so let's see how this plays out. He needs to be honest and he needs to be transparent. He needs to take responsibility for his action. He needs to make decisions based on logic, because we do have the swords and that does represent logic. This also represents legal matters and agreements, and he needs to find some fairness with legal agreements as well. And he needs to be more aligned with his values. So that is what we have for the tarot spread. Let's get into the astrology, shall we? Okay, first of all, well, I said that's all we have for the tarot. Before I break down his natal chart, what does the tarot have to say about P. Diddy overall? What do we need to know about P. Diddy overall? There's some backstabbing. So this could be someone who, and this also is the 10, meaning that it's the end of a journey and starting anew, but there is some backstabbing with some words or some evidence. Not hardcore tangible evidence, but something that's being said and the words that are being spread and the stories that's being spread is stabbing him in the back. Who is the backstabber? Maybe he's a backstabber. Overall, this is about P. Diddy, so maybe he's a backstabber. No, I think he's the one laying down and he's being stabbed in the back. You know, I'm just going to say this disclaimer. I do think that he is guilty. This is my personal opinion. However, someone stabbed him in his back, and we'll get into that a little bit later as I continue on with this reading. This is also someone who's resilient but wounded. This is someone who's pessimistic and cautious. This is someone who's highly sensitive. There's strong inner will. Let's see how this plays out. This is the end of the journey, though, and starting some new, especially with the news and the words that are coming out, okay? So that is what we have for overall with P. Diddy. Now, first of all, I do have to say we don't have a birth time on P. Diddy. That sucks as an astrologer, because I can really do some hardcore predictions with a birth time. But with that said, we could look at the planetary positions. We could look at what signs they're in. We can look at the aspects between the planets, and we can also connect it with the current transits. Because I don't have the exact time, I can't give really exact timing of things, just so you know. That's just a heads up, but I can give you a lot of insight. First of all, I want to say that he has a Scorpio stallion. So let's pull up the chart. I do want to say that he has, and ignore the time and the houses. They do not play a part in this, because it doesn't matter. But I do want to say that, first of all, he has a Scorpio stallion. And with the Scorpio stallion, he has Neptune in Scorpio, the Sun in Scorpio, and Mercury in Scorpio. And what that means basically is that he's secretive. There's a lot of taboo things happening with him. He's someone who is mysterious. Okay. There's things that we do not know about him. Also, Scorpio energy is very obsessed with power and control. Also very suspicious. They are very suspicious people overall, and they have difficulty with letting go. You are talking about a fixed sign. There's intensity with this sign. There is also emotions, high emotion. Diddy could have some control issues. Scorpio is also, the traditional ruler of Scorpio is Mars, and the modern ruler of Scorpio is Pluto. So all that is going to play a big part with P. Diddy. He is also a male, and I find that the men carry the sun sign stronger, so the Scorpio energy is very strong for him. He has other stallions, so we'll get into that a little bit later, but overall, sex is huge with Scorpio men, especially sun sign in Scorpio men. And secrets, Scorpios can represent an FBI agent, because Scorpio represents an investigator who is keeping secrets. Okay, so just letting you know that could represent that. Now let's go over to the Virgo stallion. He has a moon in Virgo, he has Pluto in Virgo, and he also has his south node in Virgo. Particularly on the moon here, we are talking about someone who is a workaholic and someone who is a creature of habit, and that makes so much sense in all the things of making a band and him saying you got to work, you can't sleep. I think a Virgo moon will have that, but they also are a creature of habit. So the habits, the things that they do is routine, and there has to do the same thing all the time. Okay, now he has a moon, and this is without me looking at the aspects. Okay, he also has Mars in Aquarius. Now when you look up P. Diddy and you just say P. Diddy's birth time or natal chart, most of the time they will tell you that it is a Mars in Capricorn. But if you keep moving the time over, it is a Mars. During that day, Mars will enter Aquarius. I strongly believe that he is a Mars in Aquarius, not a Mars in Capricorn, just from the things that I know about him. And I'll explain Mars in Aquarius. Mars in Aquarius has unconventional desires. They enjoy their freedom. Freedom at any cost, okay? Enjoys breaking the rules and pushing boundaries on their own, and they don't want to commit to any partners. And I know he had like an interview with Young Miami, and she wanted to commit and he didn't want to commit. You know, we're just talking about things that we shouldn't know, right? That is very Mars in Aquarius. Also, Mars in Aquarius has a lot of kinks and fetishes, and could have an alternative lifestyle. Experimental energy, not traditional when it comes to relationships. The sexual identity and desires are not quite normal. They're out of the box, okay? Not saying that everyone who has a Mars in Aquarius has this, but I find that this is more fitting for P. Diddy, okay? They are rebellious, they are defiant, emotionally detached, and there could be some unpredictable desires. Doesn't want to commit. P. Diddy was raised Catholic and was an altar server as a young boy. I'm not saying that all people who are Catholic or people who worked at the altar, who was an altar boy, had this problem, but it does give me some suspicious vibes, okay? Also, I do want to point out that this is 0 degrees, meaning that this is a very potent, intense degree, meaning that his Mars in Aquarius will be so strong, there's no denying it. That's why I also think he has a Mars in Aquarius. If it wasn't a Mars in Aquarius, it would be a Mars in Capricorn, and that is someone who is more fitting to be a Jay-Z. Someone who's more about their career. I don't know Jay-Z's chart, but I'm trying to give you someone who's serious about their long-term goals. And I'm thinking he's more Mars in Aquarius, okay? And Aquarius also is the energy of socializing, and he did throw a lot of parties. Speaking of parties, let's get on to this Libra stallion, okay? Now, this Libra stallion, I think, is where it all hits the fan for him, okay? And I will explain a little bit later, but let's just talk about the Venus in Libra, okay? They're focused on relationships and partnerships, very charming, very social, a lot of collaborations. And when I say collaborations, I'm not just talking about the music, because he did have a lot of collaborations, and I don't even think he had an album by himself, right? He always had someone on his album, and that is very Venus in Libra, Jupiter in Libra, and they're conjunct. We'll get into aspects a little bit later. The stallion and relationships is huge for him. Also, he had a clothing brand. He's very into aesthetics. Let's talk about the aspects just in his chart. Okay, so Mercury in Scorpio is opposed his Saturn in Taurus, and when you have this aspect, there is communication challenges, maybe a fear of rejection or criticism. Secrets and mystery causes restrictions, or you can't see the restrictions that you have. Mercury in Scorpio is going to keep the secrets, right? It's going to keep the things that are very taboo. You know, some Mercury in Scorpio are very intuitive, so that could be happening. I don't know P. Diddy personally. However, there is restrictions when he's using his intuition, or there's restrictions when it comes to the secrets. Also, it's not seeing eye to eye. This lessons, this long-term energy and restrictions and limitations. It's not working with his income, or maybe in a long term will not work with his income. Him thinking of these taboo things is going to cause some long-term restrictions. Oppositions are not positive, is not a positive aspect. There's no balance between the two, and he needs to balance between it. More loving energy, which is, earlier we pulled that card, the King of Cups, and he doesn't have it. So yeah, he has to see a balance between how he thinks intuitively in his finances long term, or his restrictions with finances, or the authority with finances. And there isn't a balance there. Now, he also has a Libra. Venus in Libra is conjunct Jupiter in Libra. Now, this is really huge when it comes to P. Diddy. I mean, you're talking about, what is it called? Sean John fashion. That was huge, right? But this is making someone who's very popular. There's abundance with this placement, overindulgence, overly optimistic. He could have high expectations, and I think we've seen that with making a band. But everything that's dealing with Libra energy, bigger. And when I mean Libra energy, I'm talking about law. So cases bigger than ever, and that's what you have. Now, this also, this is at 21 and 22 degrees, and at 22 degrees, you had a fixed star called the Foreman, and this is touching his Venus. So when you have that, there is prosperity, there is leadership, divine teacher, creative power. He could be having some ear and eye trouble. I haven't seen that with him, but indecision. But also, this can represent a shipwreck. when conjunct this fixed star. It is a fortunate fixed star, but it is connected to Saturn and Jupiter. It's also associated with social reform, justices, and the scaleness of balance and fairness. And we already have that with law. So this fixed star was meant for him to have all these legal problems and them being bigger than ever. Yeah, this also could represent challenges with relationships too. Okay. Now, Saturn in Taurus is also quincunx Uranus and Libra, back to the Libra energy. And when you have a quincunx, first of all, Uranus and Libra brings focus on unconventional relationships. For the people in the back, unconventional relationships that are quite not normal. Okay. And you could be thinking that relationship that Snoop Dogg had with Martha Stewart as far as work. Sure. But I'm thinking more love. I mean, we're all thinking it. But also, too, an unconventional way of being fair and equality in a partnership. That is something that is really huge. It's also in 6 degrees, and 6 degrees for Uranus is dealing with his work. So he could have some unconventional relationships as far as work. But whatever it is, this quincunx between the two, there needs to be an adjustment. He's not quite comfortable. So these different relationships, and he feels restricted, and the restrictions not making him comfortable. Restriction or long-term causes tension with surprise relationships as well. Relationships that he's not quite planning, or maybe this also could represent long-term jail time for justice. Anyway, moving on. Mercury in Scorpio is also quincunx his Chiron in Aries. Like what is said triggers unresolved wounds related to the self. Now, Jupiter is quincunx North Node in Pisces, and this could be some legal justice and lack of compassion with his legal justice. That could be what this representing here, are spiritual or moral dilemmas as well. Now, he has a T-square with his Mars that I think is in the sign Aquarius. And a T-square, this is the apex, meaning that this is the focus point. And it's T-squaring Mercury in Scorpio and Saturn in Taurus, okay? These are all fixed signs. There is things that needs to be changed, and he doesn't like the change, okay? Now, the main star is the Mars, the one that's all about the kinks and doing things a little bit different. The alternative lifestyle with the fetishes, that's the main star. And it's having some challenges with authority, especially authority with his finances, emphasis on stability and security. This is challenging that Mars in Aquarius. Interesting. Also is challenging his thought process, right? And his intensity, or the secrets that he has, hidden truths. Yeah. Very strategic too. I find that Mercury in Scorpio, very strategic. There's rebellion, action for freedom, are things that are quite not normal. But this T-square is causing him problems throughout his whole life, and you see it as a grown-up. And again, the Mars in Aquarius represents his sexuality, and the Mercury in Scorpio represents his secrets, and the Saturn is the restrictions, the authority figure. It could represent jail time. It could also represent the authority, the boss man, whoever is his boss. This could be in his 12th house, and we don't know this because we don't have a birth time. But yeah, just know that this T-square is a big part of the challenges that we are now seeing played out currently in the news. Now, a big part that I want to point out is his Libra stallion, okay? A lot of people, when I first learned astrology, I would think the Scorpio stallion was big, but I'm thinking his Libra stallion is huge when it comes to all these problems that we are seeing currently today. His Jupiter, Venus are both Libra, in the sign Libra, and Jupiter already represents law. Venus already represents law, and they are conjunct. What does that mean? It is stronger than ever, okay? You're talking about women's rights. You're talking about partnerships. You're talking about justice, fairness, lawsuits. Huge. And I'll get into the list of it, okay? His Uranus is in sign Libra, so he has unexpected surprises with lawsuits, with social media, his relationships. Uranus also makes me think of communication, and communication about his relationships bigger than ever. It's not conjunct Jupiter, but it is dealing with law, relationships, and collaborations. Okay, so let me just tell you, 1993, after being fired from his duties in Uptown Records, Combs started his label Bad Boy Records. The label grows popularity and notoriety, breaking the careers of Craig Mack, Notorious B.I.G., Mace, The Lox, Faith Evans, and more. He worked on TLC's album, Crazy Sexy Cool. I did not know that. That's interesting. Anyway, but Jupiter in the sign Libra is going to make this bigger. Now, also, there is some rumblings that he had a relationship with a guy. I can't think of his name. I'll post his name up here. And this guy could have affected his Mars in Aquarius. Also could have been the authority figure, made him keep the secrets. Just letting you know. I don't know. I can't see what house this is, but I'm thinking there's a correlation here. Now, also, I do want to say, because they're saying he did come out and say he was bisexual, this guy. And word on the street is that this guy was his like mentor and taught him how to do these things that he's doing now. Okay, so moving on. But this is also dealing with that unexpected Libra incident. And I wonder if this was an unexpected relationship. That's surprise. You know what, P. Diddy, I choose you. Come here. Let me teach you how to do things. Just saying, okay? And Jupiter in Libra is going to make it bigger than ever. And Venus in Libra being conjunct at Jupiter. Venus is also what you naturally attract. And it's also, these are very positive planets. Sometimes it could be too overwhelming though when Jupiter is touching it, but the positive planet could bring you a lot of positivity, a lot of things that you consider blessings in your life. But you know, some people will use their, what is the word? I can't think of the word. What some key words for Libra, okay? Because I do think Libra plays a big part of a lot of things with P. Diddy. And because he has that stallion in Libra, you're talking about women and relationships. So you're talking about Cassie, J-Lo, Young Miami, Kim Porter. He also dated Cameron Diaz. Okay, let's not, no one's going to get out of this video, okay? Also, why haven't we discussed Naomi Campbell? They were doing a lot with each other back in the day. And Naomi Campbell is a little suspect too, because she signed some Epstein. She was on the airplanes. Anyway, partnerships also represents Libra, and contracts, legal contracts, okay? So you're talking about the Little Rod producer. He seemed like he was dependent on him a lot, okay? Stevie J, you're talking about Jay-Z. We know about Biggie Smalls. We know about Shine, too, the rapper. These are all relationships and business partners that he has worked with. No, and we'll keep going. Collaborations. I talked about the music, right? You're talking about Mary J, Maze, Usher, 112, Total, Danity Kane, which also is Don Richards, Making a Band, or The Band, all right, Keisha Cole. I think he had an album with just full-on collaborations, you know, Dirty Money, which was also Don Richards, Bad Boy, and Ciroc. Venus also and Libra represents a team. Not just Aquarius, because Aquarius we do think of groups, but Venus also could represent a team. So just so you know, and he also was going to make a group called the Dream Team. Speaking of teams, I didn't even realize that. Anyway, and it was going to have Rick Ross, DJ Khaled, Fat Joe, Busta Rhymes, Red Cafe. I don't know who Red Cafe is, and Fabulous. Now this is also interesting, right? Because Rick Ross was just on the podcast with the ex-girlfriend, Young Miami, but he doesn't own that podcast anymore. Rumor is that the son owns it. Also, remember this guy got arrested, right? And he's gone viral again because all of the things that he said it made it seem like he was crazy back then, but now it kind of makes sense, right? Especially with the Neptune and Pisces. Everyone's believing all the conspiracy theories, but this conspiracy theories could have a lot of truth to them. Anyway, but he spoke of Rick Ross and DJ Khaled, and he was going to make a dream team with them in it. Now, Fat Joe, we don't have enough tea on him, but I'm putting this in this video so we can be aware. Busta Rhymes, I know there's pictures. I think he even supported him at the beginning of all this. I don't know who Red Cafe is, but now Fabulous.
Like when you like this, Daddy, you miss me though, for real, because man, I'm talking about for your birthday. Why won't you party with me for your birthday, man? No, but me and you ain't never really party, you know what I'm saying?
This is interesting. Fabulous probably was like, I don't want no part of this. After this Dream Team thing, he was like, I'm not with what y'all do. Anyway, moving on, Combs teamed up with Mark Wahlberg as well and business partner Ronald Burkle on some company called the Yoka Companies to purchase majority holdings of Aqua Hydrates, a calorie-free beverages for athletes. So Mark knows some stuff too. A key word for Libra also is parties. So a lot of parties. We all know about his all-white parties. We know about his birthday party. We know about beds being in his party. That would be Pisces energy, 12th house energy. We don't know any 12th house energy, but yeah. Oh, in 1998, he also had, that's when he started his all-white parties, the Hamptons, which were very lavish. And they said it was a modern Great Gatsby. Guests range from music industry execs and actors and artists, real estate moguls, and sports team owners. Wow. But that is all that Jupiter conjunct Venus. Huge, huge parties and big people. Beyond this world. Jupiter is so expansive, is so big. Libra energy also represents fashion, and we know we had Sean John. Also represents food and senses, or like any type of senses, so smelling, touching. So he did have a restaurant called Justin's. I think he had two. And then he also had a man perfume, which I think my friend always wore, and it was called I Am King. I just want you to know the Libra energy was strong with him, because now Libra also represents law, justice, scales, fairness, harmony, really law. And now he has these huge lawsuits, which were destined to happen with that Jupiter conjunct Venus. Not for everyone, but Jupiter conjunct Venus in a sign Libra. So let's get into the timeline of these lawsuits, because it gets really, really thick. I don't know how many people, I know rich people have problems. He said the more money, more problems, but this is like intense. So in 1990 and 1991, he had the lawsuit. Well, the 2023 lawsuit pointed out these timelines. So Combs allegedly drugged, sexually assaulted, and videotaped 19-year-old Joy Dickerson. And also in 1995 and 96, he had April Lampros on several occasions. In one incident, she alleges he forced her to perform oral sex in a car. This is that Scorpio stallion controlling people sexually. I just want you to know. I'm going to do the timeline and tie in astrology in a mix of all this. So in 1996, Combs is found guilty of criminal mischief for threatening a photographer from the New York Times, New York's Post, with a gun. Also control that Mars in Aquarius wants its freedom. What are you doing taking pictures of me? Also, I want to be clear, it is not working the best with that stallion, which is that Mercury in Scorpio, okay? So it feels like he should have freedom and he has the power to do anything. Just to throw that clarification. And that's that Mercury in Scorpio. It is squaring his Mars in Aquarius. Okay, so 1999, I want to explain, is when he had his first Saturn return. Everyone has their first Saturn return around 28 to 30 years old, okay? In 1999, where we get some more stuff, okay? Can indicate anytime you have a Saturn return, can indicate periods of restriction, responsibility, or facing the consequences of your action, which usually means having some responsibility, okay? There could be a life evaluation. Maybe you're looking at your life purpose. You're changing your career. There's challenges. There's tests. You know, some people move during a Saturn return, but you're into commitment. You're thinking of letting go and releasing, and there's some structure. At the same time, there could be some hardcore lessons. Now, in April 16th, was arrested and charged with 2 felonies, second-degree assault, criminal mischief, in the beating of record executive Steve Stout, who says Combs and 2 bodyguards beat him with their fists, a telephone, and a champagne bottle. Now, Mars, this day, I looked it up because now we have an official date, April 16th, 1999. And Mars is retrograding in the sign Scorpio and is conjunct his Mercury in Scorpio. And Mars rules aggression, conflict, and impulsive action. This hard aspect could consider some confrontations with authority and reckless behavior and sudden disruptive events leading to confinement and legal consequences, which you had there, okay? Pluto was also retrograding in Sagittarius, that is dealing with the law. It's quincunx Saturn. So Pluto governs power and control and intense experiences, and now you need to learn the lesson. Neptune in Aquarius was conjunct his Mars in Aquarius, because remember, I personally believe he has a Mars in Aquarius, and this could represent some illusions, deceptions, and some secrets in the situation, or maybe the person felt trapped or deceived. Can indicate misunderstandings or scenarios where the individual feels trapped or confined. He could be feeling trapped or emotionally trapped. That could be happening. We're talking about P. Diddy, so I'm thinking he's trapping a person. Anyway, also December 27th, 1999. This is also part of the lesson. This is the huge Saturn in return lesson, okay? Now, because his birthday is in November, Saturn is really affecting him now. This is when he went to the club and he shot up the club. Well, I shouldn't say he shot up the club, but he went with J-Lo. Rumor is that J-Lo had it in her purse, the gun. Rapper Shine was with him. He got arrested in relation to this gun shooting in New York, and Combs is charged for weapon violations, but is ultimately acquitted, okay? If you watch the interviews now, Shine says that he's not guilty and that he was supposed to, okay, P. Diddy apparently hired 2 lawyers. One of the lawyers was John Cochran. Yeah, John Cochran. The things that John Cochran knows, I wish he wrote a tell-all. Anyway, but he hired him, and he hired another lawyer, and I think he hired a lawyer for Shine. And Shine said that he set him up, that lawyer wasn't really for him, and also he went being P. Diddy's friend and supporting him. P. Diddy, shady, threw him in jail. Okay, anyway, that day, because we have a date here, Neptune in Aquarius is conjunct his Mars in Aquarius. So there is illusion here, confusion, and P. Diddy is being secretive because he wants his freedom. You have Venus in Scorpio, and it's conjunct his Neptune in Scorpio. So there's avoidance in relationships, manipulation, secretive, and you're talking about the relationship with J-Lo, and you're talking about the relationship with Shine. There's deception and mystery there too. Jupiter is in Aries at 25 degrees. It is opposing his Venus in Libra and Jupiter, and Aries is bold, and it is assertive and impulsive and aggressive, and it represents your face and your gun, and it could represent a gun in the face, because the lady got shot in the face, which she says 100% that P. Diddy shot her. Jupiter in the Aries is over the top. It overreacts, challenging one's beliefs, exaggeration. Venus in Libra is at the party with your partner, with your friend, with your girlfriend, and now it's acting over the top, okay? It can't see eye to eye over is just being too much, okay? And the conflict in relationships, and I can also cause a conflict at the party, and it's very aggressive with the Aries. Mind you, we're gonna be jumping in Aries energy with some planets real soon, y'all. So war and conflict will be coming to the collective soon. That's another video. Anyway, in 2000 to 2001, according to May 2024 lawsuit, Combs allegedly attacks April Lambros again in her apartment. I don't have a date on that, so we're moving on. In 2001, this lawsuit, in September 2024, Talia Graves claims Combs and his bodyguard Joseph Sherman raped her in a Bad Boy Records studio. So that happened. That just recently was brought up. I think that was a live press conference yesterday, and I'm filming this September 25th. 2024, just so you know. But all that represents that Scorpio stallion. If that did happen, it was a secret, it was mysterious, it's dealing with obsession of power and control, okay? His ego is the sun, and he likes some taboos and some secrets, and he likes self-control. Not all Scorpios like this. I'm just talking about P. Diddy. Now, in 2003, the National Labor Committee revealed the fact that factories producing the Sean John clothing brand in Honduras were violating Honduran labor laws. I think he says, I have no problem with working. Anyway, just want you to know that Jupiter during this time was in the sign Virgo, so you are going to talk about fairness and law when it comes to work. Virgo is also dealing with Taylor and the details of things. So that all was very fitting for him. Details, Taylor's, and laws. Okay. Also in 2003, Kirk Boris sued Combs. Again, this Jupiter conjunct Libra, Venus in the sign Libra is making all these lawsuits. Okay, but we'll move on. Claiming that he had forced him to give up his shares in Bad Boy. That is that Scorpio stallion obsession with control and power. 2003 again, and this is according to a December 2023 lawsuit. His former Bad Boy record presidents Harvey Pierre and a third unidentified man allegedly gang raped an unnamed 70-year-old victim at a Manhattan recording studio. Also in 2003, May 2024 lawsuit, Combs allegedly drugged and sexually assaulted. Let me see what happened I don't have the notes for Jupiter was in, I don't have the exact dates, but 2023, 2003, it went down. Let me see what happened that year. Why was it so dramatic for him? Oh, I just literally said, why was it so dramatic? So Jupiter went into the sign Leo, then it went into Virgo. So it was dramatic because in 2003 Jupiter is in a sign Leo, so you got a lot of drama, and Leo energy is very controlling too. It's bossy, it's stubborn, it's fixed. It's a fire sign that's over the top. But I'm trying to see what else we have. Uranus is in Pisces. Yeah, so that could be secrets or hidden enemies that these people Pisces could also represent sexuality. That was retrograding. Saturn is in a sign Cancer. I have to look more into 2003. I wonder if there were some eclipse there, but I'm thinking maybe it could be Jupiter. So, but what I do know is 2004, right? Eclipse in a sign Libra. I want you to understand that these eclipses in Libra really affects P. Diddy. Remember, he has that stallion in Libra. So in 2004, October 13th, we had a solar partial eclipse in Libra, and that is when Don Richards in his 2024 September lawsuit alleges that she was forced by Combs to rehearse up to 48 hours straight without food. Now in 2005, October 3rd, we had a solar annular eclipse in Libra, and this is when he met Cassie. This is an eclipse. And this is when he met Cassie for the first time and expressed interest in wanting to sign her to her label. Cassie was 19 at the time, and Sean Puffy Combs was 37. And he also had The Making in the Bed. It was the third season, but that eclipse was the beginning of the Cassie relationship. Now, remember, now in 2005, Jupiter is in a sign Libra. That is very important because we're dealing with Libra energy. Also, the South Node. The nodes are in sign Libra, and the North Node is in Aries. This is important because now this is the start of a cycle. And we are currently in these situations right now. Jupiter is not in Libra. Jupiter is in Gemini. But the other aspects are important. So we'll get into that as we'll continue. But just mark that 2005 is when it started. Okay. Now, of course, he had other problems and he has his natal chart, but this is the beginning of these issues that he has, not just, with Cassie and how that became bigger, and it opened, the eclipse opened up the doors for all these legal problems and relationships. In February 2006 is when Cassie signed a 10-album deal with Bad Boy. 10 albums. Crazy. 10 albums, and she was probably 20 at the time. And May 11th, 2007, Lauren Gispin alleges that she was threatened by him and he threw a chair at her. And Mars was in Pisces, and it was opposite his Pluto in Virgo at this exact degree of 26. 26 is your finances and what he values. Mars is about that aggression, and Pisces represents filming. Okay, so he's aggressive regarding the filming, and he is obsessed with his power when it comes to work. So all that can make sense with that aspect. Now, in 2007, he starts to be a stakeholder and ambassador for Ciroc Vodka. Okay, and Mercury is retrograding in the sign Libra. Shouldn't be signing anything there, but he did. And anytime Mercury is retrograding, but that makes sense. And it's in the sign Libra, and it's 29 degrees. It's conjunct his Venus, it's conjunct his Jupiter. And that, again, is all dealing with law, relationships, and collaboration. 29 degrees is like hurry up, urgent. So I wonder if he quickly signed it, okay? He should have consulted not just a lawyer, but an astrologer. Okay, so in 2008, it's when the LA Times claimed that he basically claimed that the Notorious B.I.G. and Combs orchestrated the 1994 robbery and shooting of Tupac. March 17th, the newspaper later retracted the story, acknowledging that the documents had been fabricated on April 7th. 2008. They wrote the story April 7, 2008, and they changed it in March 17th. So then I went over and looked at that because they relied heavily on information that the Times no longer believed was to be credible. Wow, what kind of power that you have. Anyway, FBI is Saturn, Capricorn, and Pluto, because this is what the rumors are saying. So I gotta see, does he have FBI? Okay, so they're saying that these are FBI documents, but then they're saying they no longer believe them. So I looked up FBI. FBI is, you know, we're dealing with Saturn, Capricorn, Pluto. We could be dealing with some Scorpio energy, but Saturn was in Capricorn. It was at 0 degrees. Anyway, a lot of planets were in the sign Pisces. You're talking about the Sun, Venus, Uranus, and Mercury. So things that are very hidden. And you're talking about a corporation and an institution with the power, okay? So power with corporations and institutions and a lot of things hidden. Anyway. So yeah, so you have that happened. That was interesting. I didn't, you know, I feel like that's another video, the Tupac and Biggie and P.Diddy. So right now we're talking about his Libra aspects. We're not getting into the killing of stuff. And I would love a birth time with that, but we'll that's another video. Anyway, in 2012, in the November 2023 suit, Ventura alleges that Combs said he was going to blow up the car of Kid Cudi. Kid Cudi confirmed it. Saturn was in a sign Libra. Like, I will restrict this relationship, Cassie. You will not be going anywhere. Okay, so it's restrictions of partnerships. And in 2014, Combs announces a new joint venture with Diageo de Leon Tequila. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. And again, becomes synonymous with a liquor brand. Now, Mars is in a sign Libra. I find that to be very interesting. Now, Mars in Libra means it's touching all his planets in Libra, and you're talking about legal documents signed and partnerships and all that stuff. Mars in Libra is like, you know, he's his own partner, but yet he's a partner. It's like joint control. It's very weird, but that plays a part too. In 2015, Combs was arrested for aggravated assault after an altercation with his son's football coach at a university. I just wanted to throw that out there. I didn't look that up, but I do. I'm just showing you all this. I mean, a lifelong of things. Okay. 2018. This is November 5th. I did look this up. Kim Porter's death, right? Now, Venus is retrograding in the sign Libra. Again, Libra, 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 Libra. Venus is retrograding. Retrograding means no bueno. It's not working right. Something shady. Venus can also literally represent women. So something with a woman is not working right. Now, it's retrograding in Scorpio as well. So not only does Venus retrograde in Libra, but then it retrogrades in the sign Scorpio, which also touches his Scorpio planets, which is dealing with secrets, hidden agendas, okay, things that are taboo. I just want you to be aware of that. If he did do it, I would say it happened around September 3rd. That's when he started to think about it, because that's probably when it started to retrograde. The pre-shadow phase started, okay? So like maybe he slipped the medicine in, if he did give her medicine. This is what I'm saying, because she died of pneumonia. But you know, apparently there's some ways to make it seem like it's pneumonia. 2020, I feel like restrictions started to happen with Diddy, because you're talking about Saturn started to conjunct Jupiter in Aquarius, and it was conjunct his Mars in Aquarius. So I think 2020, not only did, you know, people have COVID, but I think P. Diddy started to have a lot of restrictions in the things he was in regards to that Mars in Aquarius. And that Mars in Aquarius is that sexuality and that freedom that he likes to have and being a little different. Okay. And I think that restrictions was coming his way in a huge way in regarding law, because Jupiter represents law, and in regards to how he's handling his sexuality. Okay. July 2021, Saturn retrograde going back to his Mars. So even in 2021, it still is affecting him. And Pluto retrograde in Capricorn starts to get close to Mars in Aquarius. So 2020 was the start of his downfall. Okay, he knew in 2020, oh crap, I got to get things together. It's not working for me. My lifestyle isn't working for me. Okay, so now I want to talk about, I hope all this is making sense. If you guys have any questions, please write them down below. I will answer them. That was just a timeline of all of his lawsuits, because you're talking about Jupiter conjunct Venus in the sign Libra. That was a big one, right? Now, Uranus in Libra is really talking about his freedom with partnerships and also talking about unexpected surprises, okay? Good and bad, okay? Now, let's talk about the eclipse. There is, the eclipse happened at the beginning in the sign Aries and Libra, and that is when he met Cassie. Now, currently, we are revisiting that. Currently, as I'm saying this now, right? Aries, also the North Node is in Aries, South Node is in Libra. And when you have those North Nodes and you're talking about, the nodes are talking about your fate and what you need to release, your destiny, and he needs to release some partnerships. He needs to release some relationships, and he needs to release injustice. Okay. And what does he need to work on? He needs to work on the self and new beginning. Currently, we all need to work on that. That is the collective, okay? But just particularly him, it is really touching him and affecting him more than ever. April 19th is when we had the Aries solar eclipse. I don't know if this really affected him, but I'm going to say that this is when the Combs started to sue Diago. And eclipse, the energy can happen some months after or some months before. It's not really a certain date, even though a lot of them hit him on a particular date. With this said, I'm thinking that Aries represents being on your own. And now this is when he decided to sue the alcohol company, okay? Claiming that the spirits company deliberately kneecapped the marketing and sales of his Ciroc vodka and De Leon tequila labels, okay? In 2024 of January, he forgives them and he lets it go. There's some things probably said. Now, this eclipse was also conjunct Jupiter in Aries. That's dealing with law. Okay. And the self, the eclipse was also 29 degrees. 29 degrees is the ending of something, the ending of the relationship. The eclipse was opposed all his Libra planets, all the things that's dealing with law and relationships. So there was an ending, and it's not quite working with your relationships. Okay. Also, because I believe that his Mars is in Aquarius, Pluto in Aquarius was conjunct his Mars, and Pluto in Aquarius is also dealing with the power that be. And now we are going to pull up the mysteries of the power that be in a sign Aquarius in the group. And the group could be the drinking group, the Diago. I don't know how to say these names, but yes, I hope that's making sense. But Pluto retrograding is things are not quite working with this group. Things are quite not working with this network that you were once networking with. Okay. And now the secrets are starting to be revealed. And now P. Diddy is going to court because he wants to have some power. Saturn entered Pisces. And when Saturn entered Pisces, Pisces represents alcohol, okay, escapism, drugs. But in this we're going to talk about alcohol, and you know, it also represents spirits, and they call it a spirit, alcohol. Pisces represents the spirits. Anyway, Saturn is restrictions, right? So it's like this restriction in alcohol, and this company is like, no, we're not letting you have this power. It looks like they won because he had to drop the case.
The experience with major corporations, like my particular experience with Beam Centauri, it was great in the beginning. It's great for us to work for them. It is not so cool when you start to own things. You see what I'm saying? So I made a lot of money with them too. Like, there's a point, they did a deal that mirrored what Puffy's deal with Diageo was for Ciroc. So he didn't have ownership of that at any point, but he was getting a lot of money, like almost like $60 million a year at one point. So you see him go to daily on is when you see him have some issues. And these people have really strong relationships. Don't think that the civil case doesn't turn into a criminal case faster because he's making them uncomfortable. That's a big part of it. The spirits business it's not governed. They got a discus board that they created, right?
And it was also retrograding around March, and he started having more problems with Diago around March, okay? June 2023, after Ciroc was acquired by Diageo, they ended their partnership with Combs for refusing to acknowledge or honor his commitments. Now, October 2023 is when we had the Libra solar eclipse, and it was conjunct Mercury. First, October, a little bit after October, this eclipse, we had Cassie in November, just a month later, file her lawsuit, right? Shortly after his birthday. And you're talking about his birthday is November 4th. So his solar return was happening. That means a new start, new annual themes here. I can't really know them because I don't know how his time. Just a few months from now, he'll have some new themes. Pluto in Capricorn is conjunct his Mars in Capricorn the day that she does this lawsuit. And I think that this eclipse sparked the energy of this lawsuit, okay? Giving her some bravery to clip this relationship that she had, okay? Because that's what an eclipse means, clipping something out, or a turning point. Is when I first learned astrology, I was told that an eclipse is to put God where you are supposed to go directed, and you have no control over it. It's just going to happen. So, I'm sure he had no control of Cassie filing this lawsuit, so this is going to end this relationship. Pluto in Capricorn conjunct his Mars. That's a lot of control in an institution, okay? It's conjunct his Aquarius. So Pluto is still conjunct his Aquarius. So a lot of control and power sitting on top of his Mars in Aquarius. I just want you to be aware that all this has been happening since 2020. Mercury in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is dealing with law, and it's working with the woman. It's working for women's rights, okay? And also it's in a Sagittarius degree, which is also working with women. And this is huge. This is making it expansive and very big. And it was very big when that story dropped. Also, the sun in Scorpio is conjunct Mars, 24 degrees in Scorpio, conjunct his Neptune in Scorpio. So you have the sun and Mars conjunct. That's a lot of power and aggression too, and it's going to also put a light onto these secrets and things that are very taboo. Remember, I talked about Neptune and Scorpio, and there's some hidden agendas there. In his chart, the South Node in Libra is conjunct a fixed star, and it's called Spica. And this is dealing with wealth, fame, honor, glamour, and the fortunate one, very fortunate, is dealing with Venus. It's also conjunct another fixed star called Arcturus, which is about riches and fame and honor and popularity. And I'm thinking this is why she got so much money, because these fixed stars were conjunct his South Node of releasing. Again, these fixed stars were conjunct his South Node in Libra of releasing, not his fixed star, but the fixed star, and releasing this relationship. To release relationship, here is the money, so go. And this South Node is sitting right on top of the Venus, which is literally the woman. So I'm thinking because it was conjunct this fixed star, this is how she was able to get this money, and it worked out for her. It was very, very positive in achieving the goals that she wanted to achieve. Venus in Libra was conjunct his Uranus, so surprise, here's some new law things, and it's going to be published everywhere. It's going to be all on social media, and the support is going to be for the woman in the relationship. Now on the 17th, she got the money. And then it was a Capricorn moon. It was conjunct Pluto and Capricorn in the sky. So the emotions, and the moon also represents femininity energy. That came to power, and she got some power and authority with that. The sun is in Scorpio and Mars is in Scorpio, and it goes to 25 degrees, which is an Aries degree, something first, something new, a new start. Okay. Yeah. Oh, wow. They both are at 25 degrees, and they're sitting on top of his Neptune. So the sun, on the 17th, the next day, Mars is in a Cazimi with the sun, and that worked out very well for her because it's achieving things that are very secretive, and it's highlighting it, especially with that male energy. It's very male energy, but it's conjunct his Neptune of secrets, and the stars were in line for her to get that money that day, and it was justice too, because that Venus, South Node, all that is in Libra as well. So this is justice. Say what you want to say, but my opinion from looking at the astrology is that this settlement was honest, and she got her justice and she got some power with that. Now on the 23rd of November, now we're getting closer in the dates, because now we're not dealing with the 90s and the 2000s. Now we're here. And on November 23rd, Combs is accused of sexual assault and drugging in the early 90s, and we went over all those things, and I went over the dates. Now on the 28th of each individual accusation, not each, but the most of them. So we're still in November, and towards the end of November, now we have that he steps down from the revolt. And you have Venus in the sign Libra, and it's conjunct that South Node, releasing some relationships. Not only did that happen, in December 6th, he is releasing a statement. Let me go to December 6th. So December 6th, which is so interesting, because Venus is sitting on top of his Mercury. So he feels like, yeah, I'm feeling the love, and I'm going to release a statement on social media and denying all the allegations that are put against me. Now, on the 10th of December, 18 brands severed their ties from doing business with him. And remember, the South Node of releasing is sitting on top of his Jupiter and Venus. So he lost a lot of partnerships with e-commerce and companies that day. Later on December, Hulu even scraps Combs' family reality show. I guess he was going to have a reality show, but nope, that got cut. That's another collaboration and partnership and law agreement. February 26, 2024 is when we have producer Rodney Little Rod Jones Jr. giving one of the biggest lawsuits besides what Cassie gave. And this lawsuit, I mean, it just went in. I went over some of the stuff in the early 90s and 2000s. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure I put some of his lawsuit in, but if you're not familiar with this lawsuit, he's the one that said that there was a shooting, and he admitted to shooting people in the club. He admitted to having a shooting, or he witnessed a shooting in the bathroom. I don't know the details of it, but it is all currently out there, okay? By the time I got to this, I am tired of P. Diddy. He has done so much. Anyway, but when this lawsuit came out, Jupiter in Taurus opposed his Sun in Scorpio and his Mercury in Scorpio. So the law, Jupiter again represents law, and Jupiter is going to give some tangible evidence against, the things that he's trying to achieve in the secret. And there were a lot of pictures. I'm sure there's some video evidence in that lawsuit as well. Now, we go all the way to March, because now we're still dealing with this eclipse group here that's dealing with Aries and Libra, right? And this eclipse is also affecting these north and south nodes in Aries and Libra. So now we're still in this eclipse energy. And March 25th, 2024, we had a lunar prenumbral eclipse in Libra, and it was conjunct his Uranus in Libra. And that is the day that the federal agents raid his home in Miami. Okay. Also, I do want to explain that Uranus could represent airplanes, and he did have a plane fly somewhere separate. And I think that should be looked into a little bit more, because Uranus conjunct that eclipse is a huge aspect, that something is not being said with that. I just want to say that there could be some law or some paperwork or something that he felt like was justice, because you're dealing with Libra energy in that airplane, or like a lover. I don't think it was a lover. I just think it was something dealing with either him having some justice or some paperwork with law on that airplane. But there's something with that airplane, because Uranus, sure, is it unexpected? It could represent unexpected, but there's a Libra aspect in it. And the Libra is some type of relationship, and maybe it could be the relationship, unexpected relationship with the FBI, and that could have been clipped out. Now his relationship with this FBI, or this partnership that he secretly had, is no longer working. And or it could be something with that airplane. Oh, also that same day of the eclipse, you had a 25-year-old man accused of being a drug mule for Diddy in a recent lawsuit was arrested at an airport on that same day and the same time that they were raiding their homes, okay? Drugs is dealing with Pisces, and we are dealing with Neptune in Pisces. We are dealing with Saturn in Pisces, and Neptune in Pisces. Let me see on the 24th. I don't have anything hardcore on the drug aspect because I need to know his birth time, but it's something with that eclipse and his partnership. And this could be on partnership, this drug dealer. That is the Libra aspect. Okay, on the 26th, Combs reportedly sells his stake in Revolt TV. Again, a relationship, and that is the next day. April 8th is when you had the Aries solar eclipse, and shortly a month later after April, and the Aries is going to represent the self, and now you're by yourself. Okay, screw the relationships. May 17th is when we had the video assault surface, and then Cassie started to speak up, and then Combs apologized for the hotel incident. And Mercury in Taurus happened, and I remember saying this in this video, when Mercury's in Taurus is going to get us some tangible evidence, and we were able to have some tangible evidence, and it was conjunct to Saturn and Taurus, so restricting him on what he values. And Saturn and Taurus in his natal chart is retrograding. I always find a retrograding is being a little bit shady if you are shady. Just, it could be internal energy or it could be shady. And I think with this aspect, it is shady. May 20th, 2024, NYC mayor considers revoking Combs' key to the city. And that is all that support and love that was given to him. Okay, so it looks like we had major Pisces energy during March 2025. March 25th, 2024. And again, that is dealing with all the drugs. And that is majorly sitting on top of his North Node for his future. Okay, so this is what you're supposed to do in your future, and you need to awaken all that escapism and drugs. Okay, release that. Not release it, but stop escaping and practice love. So you do have that, and you have Venus sitting on top of his North Node, and that Venus could be the partner, and it could be the drug partnership that he had with that guy, his drug mule. Okay. Also, I do want to say that in May, you start to have the apologies from the tangible evidence and him speaking up. And yeah, and Mercury is sitting on top of his Saturn. And yeah, he's going to speak up so he won't feel restricted. Okay. Now, also in May, he had the 6th lawsuit filed against him by Crystal McKinney. She worked for the Bad Boy Entertainment label and parent company with the clothing. It was another sex allegation. Again, in May, the 7th lawsuit happens, and it's filed by April Lambros. Venus in Taurus is conjunct Jupiter, opposing his Neptune. That is dealing with law. Let me see, May. So Venus and Jupiter are conjunct in the sign Taurus. This is dealing with his values, and it's going to expose his secrets there. Okay. Now we move all the way to June and July. Again, he gets another lawsuit, and then on the 9th, another lawsuit. This is the 9th lawsuit, and then in September, a 10th lawsuit against him. And this is all that Venus and Jupiter in his birth chart, which we discussed. Venus conjunct his Uranus. Maybe he didn't even think it was going to even happen, especially with the Don Richards. Maybe he didn't see that coming. Now, September 16th, he gets arrested. And I go to September 16th in his chart. So far he has 10 lawsuits, I think. I think there's 11. And on September 16th, he gets arrested, right? And during this time, again, Venus is in Libra. That Libra energy is just killing him, okay? So Venus is in Libra, is conjunct Jupiter. So all the law, and justice is start to come to its head. Mars is in the sign Cancer, and it's squaring his Uranus. So things from the past, they're going to come and bite you, and it's going to be unexpected, especially when it comes to law. The South Node is retrograding, and it's conjunct his Uranus in Libra, and the South Node retrograding. Again, it's been hovering over all of these planets for him with law. But expect the unexpected with some surprises. The Sun and releasing some relationships, right? Mercury in Virgo is conjunct his moon in Virgo. And when you have Mercury conjunct moon in Virgo, these are details, and we're going to get the stories. We're going to get details and things that we should know, and details of his fears and his insecurities and his lack of safety. The Sun in Virgo is conjunct Pluto in Virgo, his Pluto in Virgo. And again, that's a lot of power. happening and highlighting some mysterious or secretive things happening, okay? Saturn in Pisces is opposed his moon. He has a lot of aspects happening for him on this day that he gets arrested, just so you know. And Saturn in Pisces is opposed his moon in the south node. And Saturn, again, the restrictions of the alcohol. So this could be something that's still tied in with this alcohol company, just so you know. They could be affecting how this all started. We are talking about a partnership and some legal things, and in 2020 is when it all started for him. All the other stuff started 100%. He has done 100% a lot of things sexually. However, the secrets of these things seems like it could be connected and being released through the alcohol company. Okay. Anyway, back to what I was saying, but this authority with this Pisces energy, which to me could represent alcohol or the secret, or it could be the Secret Service, opposes his moon. So you're no longer safe here and you need to release your old job. Okay. Neptune in Pisces, which again, also delusions, secrets, alcohol, sex could be dealing with this too, is retrograding. And these two planets retrograding is causing some chaos right here, right? But it's opposing his Pluto, that power of work. So there's the deceptions and lies, the mysteries of things. We're not working with you anymore with this, okay? Pluto retrograding in Capricorn squares his Venus and Jupiter. These are supposed to be positive planets, and now the power that be, the institution is saying we cannot work with each other anymore. Okay. September 17th, charges reveal. He tries to get bail. He doesn't. And that is representing all that Saturn energy and restrictions and limitations. They had hard aspects, so they're not releasing him, and he didn't make bail. I would think too, the suicidal watch is also dealing with the Saturn in Pisces, because Pisces does represent wanting to finish your life. Okay. So you do have that. I'm not sure if he is wanting to feel that way, but when it's opposing his moon, there could be that thought. Okay. Now, October 2nd, coming up, as I'm filming this, it's not October 2nd. This is all dealing with that eclipse. Again, the Libra solar eclipse affected him in a big way. And, it's the last Libra eclipse. So all this stuff needed to happen and needed to be washed out. And this could be happening a little bit after the eclipse. So some months after, we'll give it like 3-6 months after the eclipse. All this could be happening, still dealing with relationships with the alcohol company, relationships. If he has a relationships with the FBI, this could also be dealing with the relationships with he has all the women. This be dealing with the injustice and all that. All that is dealing with this eclipse, legal problems. Now it's also conjunct Mercury, this eclipse too, October 2nd. And I talked about this eclipse in detail in another video, so go ahead and check out that video. But if you want to know about yourself. But when we're talking about P. Diddy, this eclipse is conjunct Mercury, meaning that this is going to be said everywhere. Everywhere, okay? That's why every video, social media, TikTok, I don't know, YouTube, all of this, the news is all talking. You're talking about platforms that talk about political things or talking about P. Diddy. So that's what you have, and it's all over the place. A lot of people say it's distractions. Is it a distraction? No, I'm able to multitask, but to a lot of people it is. Now, let me just tell you some predictions real quick. I know we did predictions. Did I say if he's guilty or not? Let me pull a card just to see, is P. Diddy guilty? Okay, we're going to pull a card on, is P. Diddy guilty? We have the Two of Cups. It looks like there's two people in this relationship. He is not the only guilty one. There is another relationship, because he is the king of relationships, okay? And they're very bad. But is he guilty? Yes, that's what that card would say. I would say that he is guilty with a partner. It is not just him alone, but it is definitely a yes, okay? It represents harmony, agreement, positive connections, and between two parties. Yeah, I think there's two things here. But if I had to say if it's a yes card, it is a yes card, okay? Right, and breaking down the astrological chart, his natal chart and the current events now, I would have to look at his 8th house and a ruler of the 8th house, and if there's malefic planets in that, and I can't do that without a time, but I can look at his Pluto and Mars in the sky, and Pluto represents transformation, control, and obsession and power dynamics, and it could represent trying to have control sexually. Mars, again, also is sexually, and they both are the rulers of Scorpio and can sometimes indicate intense or aggression, sexual energy. So currently Pluto is conjunct his Mars in Aquarius. That makes me say yes, okay? Guilty, 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 guilty. Pluto is going to come and investigate that and bring out the dirty and the darkness and bring it to the light. So you have all that, and you already explained what that Mars in Aquarius represents, right? Now, Mars also seeks his freedom. And Pluto is focused on the hidden truths and what are your hidden truths for your freedom and the things that you secretly do out and about. This also addresses his obsession and compulsion with his sexuality. And this will also square his Saturn, authority and a limitation. So again, the restriction and authority in that Saturn of his resources. All that it says is pointing to yes of guilt, because you're talking about a negative planet, which is a malefic, Mars malefic, Pluto. It's not a malefic, but it comes off that way, especially if you don't get the healing that you're supposed to have. Now, when you're also too, I looked at the moon and its emotions and its emotional state and its sensitivity, and the moon represents your subconscious tendency. And the moon with the malefic planets could also represent some things, right? Currently, his moon is in Virgo and it's opposing Saturn in Pisces. And moon in Virgo is very into the seeking perfection and order and control over his environment, while Saturn in Pisces can create a sense of emotional confusion and fear and feeling of being lost and ungrounded. So this tension can lead to heightened self-criticism and worry, and he could feel guilty. Deep down, he could be aware that he knows he is guilty, because the moon is representing that, and he knows that this limitation, or maybe he can't see eye to eye with it. This aspect can create difficulties with authority figures or jail time. Saturn represents authority and the moon represents the emotions, and it's not feeling supported and it's feeling heavily judged. Now, predictions for P.Diddy. Long term, we are dealing again with the Lovers and the Chariot. I think there is going to be something that's communicated. Maybe he's going to learn to love. That could be happening with him. We're going to know more information, and or it could be something with partnerships that could be bigger than ever. Now, that's what we have for the tarot. Will he have jail time? Now, normally I would look at the 12th house and I will live the 12th house. I can't do that without a time, right? Or I would look at the 9th house because that's dealing with law, and we don't have that. 7th house, you're dealing with that too, but legal matters and justice. But what I can look at is Saturn, Mars, and Pluto. So said what all that represents, right? Now, Pluto, again, the power control. So when we looked at it in his natal chart, Mars in Aquarius, the freedom is squaring his Saturn, what he values, so his actions and aggression. I find that this was a prediction in his natal chart of him doing some jail time in regards how he pursues his sexuality. And so he struggles with his self and healing of self. Now, Chiron, I would need to know the house a little bit more. That is the most I can get off of Pluto, right? Now, currently in the sky though, Saturn in Pisces, alcohol, endings, deaths, and prison, and it's retrograding and it's revisiting these lessons and discipline. So definitely getting some jail time, okay? Especially because he's in the alcohol business. And you have to look at the planets retrograding to see if this is affecting him, and Saturn retrograding, Neptune retrograding currently, the delusions of things retrograding. Soon you're going to have Mars retrograding, and it will be going in the sign Leo retrograding. So that Leo represents celebrities and love affairs. So that's going to get bigger with him once that happens. And it starts to retrograde October 5th. Saturn leaves Pisces May 2025. So things will change in the future, but then Saturn will go into the sign Aries, and when it goes into that sign Aries, it's going to be opposing all that Libra aspects, which will be causing him some more limitations against himself versus all these collaborations and relationships that he had. Also, we can look at Neptune, right, for him to see about his jail time, because Neptune can represent deception, confusion, or hidden matters, which could be, the legal problems that he have. Mercury, his Neptune is in Scorpio. So again, naturally, hidden agendas happening here, right? This could also mean illusions of being a rapper who could also be the FBI agent. Now, during Scorpio season, which will be coming up soon this year in November, we'll see how this plays out for him. We'll see what the sun shines on his Neptune, his sun, and his Mercury, and what he will be saying or what the news will be saying about all that, right? Also, when Pluto enters Aquarius, it will start to square all those Scorpio planets that he has. So we'll see how that plays out. And Pluto was already in Aquarius, and I think we already saw some investigation happening, but it's going to come back in Aquarius, and it's going to set things right for the second time in the beginnings of that. And then Pluto also will be conjunct his Mars coming up. And again, we're redoing how he pursues things out of the box sexually. So October 1st, maybe we'll get news about the Joe time. And around November, more investigations on his sexuality and aggression could be happening. Also, January 2026, during Aquarius season, more of this investigation will come to the light because all that Aquarius energy will be hovering over that Mars in Aquarius, which is T-squaring, remember, his Saturn and his Mercury. So those things will be really heavily aspected for him. So check that out around 2026. And you're dealing with Mars also. All those planets will be in Aquarius. Okay, so in January of 2025, the North Node and the South Node would change, and they will go into Pisces and Virgo, which also affects him, and then he will have a nodal return. This happens to people who turn the age 56 to 57, and it's going to definitely make a shift for him, okay? And karmic lessons and redirection in life will be happening for him. Also, it completes a cycle. Hopefully, he learns his lessons. This is early. This happens around June 2025, but the nodes turn in January. So the middle of next year, hopefully that cycle changes and he starts to learn this lesson. I mean, 56, 57, we're hoping that will happen. Also, there will be eclipse happening in those signs, Virgo and Pisces, and that's some new lessons for him because he still has some personal planets. He has a moon in Virgo, so that is going to affect him. June 2025, Saturn enters Aries, so this is new lessons, not just for him, but for us collectively. So the middle of next year will be bigger for him. And about the self and restriction of the self, okay, or fighting himself could be happening. Also, he has a second Saturn return. The first one happens around 37, 40. This one's happening around 58 to 60. He is currently 55. In November, he will be 55. So in 3 years, in 2028, there will be a Saturn return. There will be a major readjustment for him. His first Saturn return, I explained, happened when he had that gun shooting with J-Lo. So now this is all back where he started, okay? So let's see what that happens. But when you have a Saturn return, remember, Saturn is about the restrictions and lessons and hardship and discipline and limitations, which is that Joe time that I think will be having. So, and when a Saturn returns, he has some hard aspects. You're talking about it's opposing his Mercury, it's opposing his Sun, it's squaring his Mars, it's quincunx his Uranus. So the lessons get harder for him. It shouldn't be harder, but because he didn't learn it the first time, it will be harder the second time. And I still think jail time will be hard for him around this time. Okay. So that is what we have for P. Diddy. I talked about the predictions. I did the tarot. I talked about if he's guilty or not. I hope I answered all the questions. If you have more questions, put them down below and I will answer them in my lives, and I save all my lives. And and I'll get back to normal. I normally do a live video of the weekly transits. I'm late on that because we've been having some construction and other issues. But anyway, I will see you guys next time. Please don't forget to subscribe, and thank you for watching this video. I will see you. Bye.